Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, once again. For those in the cocktail area, would you please come in? The event is about to begin. So to go ahead and kick us off and to give the welcome remarks, I would like to ask the CEO and Clinical Director of the Zeebah Foundation to please join me on stage. Could you please put your hands together for Dr. Julia Ejogu.
Good evening, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. A very warm, somewhat wet, Abuja welcome to you. We're so happy that you're here. On behalf of the Chairman, Founder of the Zeebah Foundation, the members of the Board of Trustees, management and staff of our organization, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to tonight's event, the formal launch of the Zeebah Foundation. Children and individuals with difficulty and challenges in communication, repetitive, stereotypical behavior, and social interaction fit the diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder. If we think hard enough, we know them. They have faces in our families, our churches, mosques, and even from our childhood. We are aware that all over the world, including Nigeria, there has been an obvious increase in the prevalence of the disorder. This can be attributed to increased awareness and possibly early diagnosis. Early intervention is a form of specialized education and therapy, if correctly implemented, will provide an opportunity for a child on the spectrum to learn and become more independent. So what's happening? As a result of all this, more parents and caregivers are seeking quality services for their children on wards who have autism. And in the process, they're discovering that these resources are limited in numbers in Nigeria. And then, as a matter of necessity, they have to travel outside the country to seek help. It's been reported that as high as 90% of clients in places like South Africa, you have a lot of Nigerians going there. 90% of them are Nigerians. Let's give some stats about this. The World Health Organization estimates that 1 in 160 children worldwide have autism. The CDC says 1 in 59 in the United States is on the spectrum. 2 years ago, it was 1 in 68. So we can see that this is becoming something of a concern. So our belief here at TZF is that children with autism can learn if given the right instruction with the right methods. Every child who walks through our doors has a better opportunity at succeeding if given the right tools. Parents, we also believe that parents can be rest assured that they have in their homeland a resource for education, care and support that's comparable to what is available globally. We also believe investing in special education and training, especially among local graduates, will lead to the creation of a sustainable pool of experts in our country and on our continent, Africa. And that way, when the experts, with all due respect to our friends in the room, get tired of our chaos once in a while and the heat, we still have people who take care of children who have autism. Research should be encouraged to increase awareness about autism. We believe that. We believe that its challenges and the available modes of treatment should be encouraged to be shared amongst our people. We have made a commitment here at the Zeebah Foundation to strive for excellence as we pursue the actualization of our mission, which is to give every individual with autism, every individual who has special learning needs and the disorders that comprise this group, the very best chance at success. We're not saying that they will succeed entirely, but let's give them the very best chance at success. And this we want to do by engaging local and global communities to create access to culturally relevant quality resources. So let's do the first activity of tonight by looking around this room. Look to your left, look to your right. Can we just do that? what do we see? We see distinguished access creators in the political, financial, diplomatic, religious world and space. So our ask this evening is that you join us, the Zeebah Foundation, to become access creators to resources for children, individuals, and their families who in various ways are impacted by this puzzling, frustrating disorder, autism spectrum disorder. Once again, thank you so much for your kind attention, and you're very welcome.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Julia. What an absolute pleasure to have those remarks going in. And I do believe that we have a video that's coming up to now speak more specifically in a very interpretive way on what the Zeebah Foundation is doing. So if I could please just ask the audiovisual guys to go ahead and play that video. that last line captures it all, where it says your presence speaks and speaks loud, and we thank you so much for being here. It's an absolute pleasure. And I always love those quotes from Martin Luther King, because Martin Luther King always spoke about how he had a fantastic dream of a wonderful and very productive society, and anything that is tangible in life always starts with a dream. So to now come and articulate what that dream is, to let us know how this thing began, I'd like to now ask the individual who put the brain and the ethos behind the Zeebah Foundation. I'd like to ask the chairman and founder to please come on up and tell us about the Zeebah Foundation dream. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Nzan. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I may not get the opportunity to say thank you to everyone who has flown in here from different places at different costs and made significant sacrifices to be here. I do appreciate your coming. I do appreciate. I won't be making the vote of thanks, so this is my pre-vote of thanks. I do appreciate all that you have done, and for people who just heard about this and walked in, I say thank you. I'm going to change the program a little bit, and the reason for this is simple. Yesterday, I had a bit of a fight with my mother. She's 78 years old, and she's very feisty. We've been fighting since I was about 7. We hardly agree on anything, but it's a lovely fight. She said she heard about the foundation, obviously she knew about it, but she wasn't briefed properly about what the foundation was about. And I was like, Mama, come on, you know, we will come and brief you. And she was like, no, she needs to get a full brief. So I said, you know what, get on a flight and come. So my 78-year-old mother flew from Calabar today. Unfortunately, there were flight delays, and she arrived a bit late. So she's not here yet. And her major accusation was that she did not understand what Zeebah sounds like my son's name. My son's name is Zeebah. And she said, oh, this is about your son. I said, no, it's not about your grandson. It's about all the children living in the spectrum. So I would like for her to be here when I do speak to what the vision is. So I'll crave your indulgence to tweak the program a bit and do something else until she finishes doing like what my mother does, which is to take her time in getting her gear together. I see also the wife of the Pakistani High Commissioner in the audience. Thank you for coming, madam. I want to appeal that you please, we have mainly men in the front row, would like to have you come up front if you don't mind. Thank you very much. And so we'll do something else. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So we can always come back to that when your mother arrives, and we can just continue on. So I think we can just now have a great segue into the panel discussion to more or less now have a more robust conversation on how best we can partner and further create awareness on what the Zeebah Foundation is doing. And I'm going to now ask that the moderator will please come up, because she will now be moderating that session. I'd like to call Dr. Julia Joby to please come up, as she'll be the moderator. You can put your hands together for her. Thank you. And joining her on stage one by one, I would like to ask Mrs. Nana Otedela, entrepreneur and founder of Garment Care Limited, to join us as well. Thank you. And then we also have Barrister Ife Daniels, an advocate for SOS siblings of special needs children, siblings of special needs children, to also join on stage. Thank you. And then we also have Mr. and Mrs. Tabo Okeke, Mr. and Mrs. Tabo Okeke, so please join the panelists as well. I believe they're here, I saw them earlier. Okay? And then also we have a parent of one of the individuals who belongs to this organization, Mr. Ibrahim Mohammed, to join the panelists on stage. Mr. Ibrahim Mohammed to join the panelists on stage. All right, thank you very much. So, Dr. Julia will be moderating the session, and she will now, have a conversation with every single person up here, after which questions and answers will be thrown open to people who have any particular question to any of the panelist members, and then we will progress from that point on. All right, so Dr. Julia, are you ready? I'm handing over to you. Okay, do you want a proper mic? You have, use that one, we can get it. Just let me know what you need.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to make this as interactive as possible because it's a conversation among a clinician, a mother, two mothers, a sibling, I believe, two fathers, friends. And at some point, we're going to open it up to you to ask questions. Please feel free to ask. If we don't know, we will get back to you on it. Okay. But for now, I'm going to start by asking a question, and any of us can jump in, please. One of the questions that a lot of people have asked, a lot of parents ask is autism lifelong? Will my child ever be cured? I'm a doctor, I can answer that, but I would also like anyone else on the panel who's researched some information about this to feel free to go ahead. I can jump in.
Okay, so hello, good evening everyone. To the question at hand, if it's lifelong, it is lifelong, but it's something that can have an impactful process depending on the child, the parents, and everyone inclusive that had helped pretty much. But if it's lifelong, yes, that is the answer. It is lifelong.
I wanted to just add to that basically children from ages 18 months can be screened for autism. So if parents feel like they're noticing odd behavior, child not meeting milestones, even you as a friend, you go to someone's home and you see something, you can suggest that they take their child to a place like the Zeebah place and have their child evaluated, and that way they can get all the help that they need. We want to say that even though the diagnosis is said to be lifelong, children can learn to have skills to cope with their difficulties. We have, children who are high functioning and children who are severely impacted. And that's the work that we do at the Zeebah Foundation. So I also wanted to ask another question, and at this time I will open it up to the audience. One more question that a parent had given. So what is the reason for the continued lack of awareness of the existence of autism in Nigeria? Why do we feel like we ask people, we know what autism is, right? But I mean, in this room, if we were to, by a show of hands, we don't want to put anyone on the spot, and we ask, what is autism? Why are you here, supporting some weird, thing you've never heard about? What would you say? So we would like to have this discussion and make sure that we shed light. So, feel free.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I think, to a large extent, one of the reasons why there's not enough awareness is because most parents are ashamed to have their child. They are ashamed of the fact that their child, or in some cases, their children, are autistic. That to me, is one of the biggest reasons why in Nigeria there seems to be some sort of stigma attached to the fact that your child does not act normally. We have religious issues as well. We might have family issues. If you are in a polygamous family, I've realized that there are a lot of women. I'm sorry, I'm speaking to the women right now. Sometimes you have some women in a polygamous family. You find out that your child is autistic or your child is not behaving normally because of sometimes the competition that exists in a polygamous home. Instead of you to actually come out and say that your child has a problem or you have a problem trying to raise your child, you would rather hide him or her, keep her in a place, and not expose your child to the rest of the family or the rest of the society. I've also realized that in some situations also we have we should be, as a developing nation, also be a nation that seeks to acquire knowledge. Some people actually go out of their way just to acquire knowledge. They see some things that are not right and they really want to find out why is this the case. But here, you see some things that are not right. Maybe the first place you'd go to would be the church or to some religious organization, and you say it's a spiritual problem. When, you know, whatever the problem is, the solution is probably right in front of you. I think for those who are Christians, and even for those who are Muslims, we don't serve a God who is a wicked God, who would not be able to give you a solution to your problem. So the solution is just, the issue with lack of awareness, primarily to me, is it has to do with just parents being ashamed, statements that you should do. That's all.
Do you think it has to do with our culture?
Yes. Well, okay. Yes, we can say our culture as well, but that depends. Again, if our culture does not, like for instance, let me use myself as an example. I'm Igbo, right? I also belong to a polygamous home, right? So when I talk, I'm speaking based on my own experiences, okay? Now, our culture doesn't really have anything to do, or doesn't say anything really about whether your child is okay or not. I think our culture really doesn't say much about it. But I know polygamy has a lot to.
Does anybody have? Yeah. Thank you very much.
What he said. Another reason why the awareness is not there is denial. A lot of parents, they deny. They don't want to face fact. They don't want to tell themselves that there's something wrong with their child. It's understandable. It's very hard. As a parent, you have to face it one day and say, okay, my child is on the spectrum. What is the next step? I need to start intervention now. And one good thing is that early intervention is the key. If you start early, there's a high chance that they will not completely outgrow it, but they will function well in society. And that happened to us for a long while. We were in denial. We were like, no, there's nothing wrong with this boy. Until one day we had to face fact. We had to say, oh, there is something wrong with him. And we started looking for solutions. We started going from one place to the other, trying to look for places where they can do proper intervention for him. And it worked. It's still a lot of work. We still have our off days, our bad days, but we can see a light at the end of the tunnel. So I would tell parents, please just accept it and start intervention as soon as possible.
All right. The question is, why isn't there so much awareness? Good to be hearing from a parent who also has an autistic child. For us, just like you said, there's the denial stage. You don't want to believe, no, he's not talking because, he's a boy. Boys talk later than girls, Wait till he's like 6, he will start talking. But then you choose to accept those excuses for him not being able to do what he's supposed to be doing, as against he has developmental challenges. So you stick to that. He's going to talk. He mumbles one word, and there's a celebration. Oh no, he has started talking. But at the back of your mind, you truly know there's something wrong. Awareness for autism in Nigeria, the reasons are many. Cultural, the stigma factor, and then more importantly, our foundational, should I say it as I don't want to use the word awareness again, but for us, when we see a child that has challenges, he is warded off as disabled, mentally disabled. So back in the day, what you hear is the child is an imbecile. He's not performing well. Nobody even gave it a tag, autism. It was always, there's something wrong with the child. Meanwhile, other societies have discovered, okay, this is a problem that can be addressed. So, yes, the awareness is not there. But Zeebah Place and other agencies that help the world handle these kind of problems should take it upon themselves. First of all, we need to destigmatize the challenges children face because they are autistic. Let it be known that it is not a curse. For me and my family, we have gone beyond, okay, it's a problem now, we even see it as a gift. Because the boy does amazing things. I wasn't expecting that. And I guess because they at some point realized, okay, we're unable to handle this, so they focus all the energy they have on doing one thing, and they do it so well. They do it extremely well. My son he just turned 7. He types with both hands. He's self-taught on the computer. Leave your system with him and you will see him watching YouTube videos. If you like, have a password. He will just keep guessing. He does not take no for an answer. Like Madam said, there are the off days. There are the days when you would feel, okay, this, you hope someday it will get better. But we also celebrate the good sides of what this has done for him. So if we are to start an awareness campaign as a country, as a movement, let's also highlight the good sides that come with being on the spectrum. In America, they always point to the actors, to the geniuses, and say, okay, they had social disorders, but we need to do that first and foremost. Your child is not cursed. Is not your father's second wife that did something to him. So if we start from that, push it as far as we can, you will see more parents, because there are a lot of them. They just remain in the denial stage. Yes, thank you very much.
Great, thank you. So, would you like to say something in this regard? What are your thoughts?
Yes, so I'm a parent of a a 19-year-old boy who's autistic. And in terms of awareness, I think we are getting somewhere in Nigeria. And I wanted us to actually check in the room if everybody here knew what autism is, and maybe say simply, Doctor, if you can do that for us in simple terms.
How about we ask the question, how many people know what autism is? Hands up. So we would like you to spread the word that autism is not a curse. It is a different ability, a different capability. Children have challenges with communication, social interaction, certain stereotypical behaviors that they engage in that give them comfort. You see them as odd, but they see them as almost like a reset of a situation. They may be going from this chair to the table, and in order to do that, to get themselves oriented, they just spin around for some reason. We don't know why these go on. A lot of research has gone into play, but pretty much those are the three areas that they have challenges in. We would like you to encourage friends that you have, if they have these children, to seek help. Please call the Zeebah Foundation, the Zeebah Place, to get their children evaluated.
So I would like to add to that. When we started our journey with autism, I mean, you would think I lived in a city like Lagos, and one was a little bit exposed and knew quite a bit, but I had this child and I really couldn't, he wasn't developing the milestones that he should. And there was really nothing to support, and we were dealing with it as parents, but also individually. So we have people who face it with maybe shame or different ways. For me, it was why, shock, why isn't my child a normal child? But, fast forward 19 years, I would like to say he's the greatest blessing that's common in one's life. Because it shows you your humanity. Life happens to everybody. It's basically how you decide to use what's happened to you. I definitely won't be sitting here and interacting with everybody here. So yes, there is awareness, but it's good for us to do what everywhere else is doing in the world. Families in Nigeria should be able to access the best that is available. Support for family, support for carers. Because if you're a carer and you don't look after yourself, you don't have information, you don't have support that's holding your hand and telling you, oh yes, we've seen head banging, we've seen children throw themselves on the floor, we've seen a child who's injurious to everybody, beating up a parent. It's just so numerous. So it's a welcome thing to have a foundation that is looking to look after everybody who is impacted by autism. So that's my input here.
So now we're going to take a couple of questions from the audience. Anyone at all, please feel free. Can we have someone help us with some microphones?
How do we actually raise awareness? Because I think and I'm very happy to hear all the different things there, but there are actually a lot of very high functioning people that people don't know are actually autistic. So are there ways that we can actually get people to identify and speak up? Because what happens is you only start to get awareness when people can identify with people. Everybody understands dyslexia because Richard Branson is dyslexic, right? So before that, people thought this guy's an Olodu, but because he's a billionaire, and you don't have to be a billionaire. Just can we find very high? That's the question, but I'm trying to offer some solution. I have a daughter who's autistic. Well, she's autistic and she's on the spectrum. But like my brother over there said, if you ask my daughter what day of the week was January 15, 1965. She'll tell you it's Thursday, and voila, it's Thursday. You understand? So they're very special. She'll probably do programming and all that. But when I was looking for a school for her, there was only one school in Lagos that had a SEND department that cared in all of Lagos. So how do we raise awareness to the point where people can see, well, this is somebody who has managed to work with this and actually started to get, high functioning and can lead a somewhat normal life and start to understand, because there's some people that are actually high functioning that don't know that they're actually high functioning until they start to, do a test and start to figure out, okay, this is probably why I can do this. So again, sorry, in a roundabout way, can you tell us ways in which we can raise awareness? Because even abroad, schools struggle with it. My daughter went to a school and had a border taster and was miserable. So running abroad is not always the answer. So how do we raise awareness here so that within the context of our culture, we can start to get the right kind of support?
So I believe that by you standing up to do what you just did, you are raising awareness. But I want to just throw this out to us as well here. Would you like to go ahead and make a comment?
Thank you, sir, for that question. So, with raising awareness in Nigeria, my foundation, SOS Needs, with initiatives like Zeebah, we try to get families to talk more. I find Nigeria to be a very sentimental country, being that the things we discuss, the things we talk about are things that are dear to us, the things that affect us. So one of the reasons why people are not talking, or that awareness doesn't seem to be apparent out there, is because people are not taking hinge because it doesn't affect them. When it affects them, if it does affect them, then those things will be in place. But the major thing that can get awareness out there is for the right policies to be in place in schools, in hospitals, in centers. We don't have an inclusive education system. So you don't have those things where schools are even apparent. There are some schools that don't even know that this thing should be in the system to start off with. So you have gaps. You have hospitals where there are no specialist units to be able to streamline a parent and let them know this is what is wrong with your child. Well, the reasons those gaps are there and those lapses are there is because we don't have a streamlined policy. If you have policies from the Ministry of Education, from the federal government, where these things are actually in place, you would have those conversations. It will be a much wilder, there will be this broadness. So we have to start by getting those things right. The foundation is already cursed. That is the truth. We don't have those things in place, but what we do at the moment, for me as an individual, what I do is I run trainings for siblings within the home to get them more informed on how they can help their own siblings, how they can transact those conversations within the home, within their peers, within the educational system, to help their parents and also help their siblings. So with awareness, you just have to start. Because we're already lacking those things. We can't wait for the government to fix those things. We have to start from somewhere. So if it's trainings, if it's information centers, if it's social media, whatever it means, those are the places you have to start those awareness from. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, for me, raising awareness has to start with, first of all, you making up your mind to actually spread that awareness. Just like what you did now, so, by standing up, because I still know that I meet people who, till date, they know that their kids are autistic, but they still don't want to talk about it. They still don't, they've come to terms with it, but they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to tell anybody, maybe you're out, you have the rest of your kids with you. Where is that particular autistic kid? Oh, he's just at home. Why is he at home? Yeah, we just left him at home. So basically, once you make up your mind that you want to spread awareness, it's starts from there. And the thing about making up your mind to spread awareness is that from that moment, you will begin to do things in a calculative manner to let the world know that autism is an issue, needs to be dealt with, and how to deal with it. I'll use our own example, myself and my wife. What we did was, when we realized that our son was autistic, the first thing was we made sure that we put him in a normal mainstream school. But we also had to get a therapist to be with him. Now, the same experiences which we've had that as well. Kids taunting him, kids staying away from him. Luckily, the therapist was able to let us know. The teacher was also able to let us know. So what I started doing was I go to pick him up at school. And when I get to the school, I ask for permission from the teacher to be able to gather all the students. And when they are gathered, I start to speak to them and I tell them about my son, Kanye. About how wonderful he is. It's not that he doesn't like all of you, but he just has a little bit of problems. Can you people just please try to tolerate him? Please just take him as your friend, and it helped. Now, that was for the kids. I still think that it's very important. While we're talking about adults knowing about autism, it's also very important that kids also, that if a particular generation is lost, let the next one be found. So if we are able to also reach out to kids, it's also quite very important. What I also did and still do with my wife is, like I said, Kanye follows us everywhere. He goes everywhere with us. So when he's having a meltdown or throwing a tantrum, I stand back, I allow everybody observe, and once I see that you're getting uncomfortable, then I approach and I tell you that he's actually autistic. I wait for your response. If you say, oh, in a way that I can tell you know what it's all about, I leave it. But if I hear, like you don't know, I say, so don't you know what autism is all about? And then that's where I start. And in some cases, I have 2, 3, 4 people gathered around me, and that's it. I start to spread the awareness. We also have tried to do some charity work. And it's all about spreading awareness. Now, in the case of our son, again, we found out that he's a really good artist. Started off with him scribbling what we could call jargon on paper. And you'd get a roll of paper, and Kanye would finish one roll of paper in 2 hours. And we felt that was the problem. There was somebody, luckily for us, very luckily, we were blessed to have someone meet my wife and tell my wife, why don't we take him to an arts class? We took him to an arts class, and we were, again, blessed to have a very patient arts teacher who looked at Kanye and said she was going to work with him. First day she sat down with him, she called us, and she was like, I've never met a child like this before. I can't believe what I'm seeing. No child can do what your son is doing right now. And so, please, can you keep him? Can I keep him? Can I stay with him? I need to work with him. I really need to work with him. And so we said, okay. Now, from that moment, Kanye started to paint, and I tell you, the journey has been fantastic. From there, we got his paintings given to one of the ambassadors in Nigeria, the ambassador to Vienna, took his painting to Vienna, got to Vienna, an art enthusiast comes to the office, sees his painting, goes crazy, calls the ambassador, can she please introduce him to the artist? And the ambassador said it's actually an autistic child, and that was it. He starts calling, they invite him over, he comes, we have to go to Vienna, we get to Vienna, Kanye's artwork is being exhibited alongside about 70 artists all over the world. We were able to from there, the awareness really started.
Right.
Now, we also have some work to do because we didn't just stop there. We have to come back and we have to pick up that information, harness that information, and begin to use that information to move. So we went online and we kept going online. Kanye was invited also, given an award, the youngest artist in history to be given that award. He was also able to, from there, produce more works. And then we got connected to the wife of the Pakistani ambassador. She's here, and she has a fantastic story on autism as well, from Pakistan, where she was able to, through the help of Pakistanis, set up a foundation, set up an institute to deal with autistics in Pakistan. And so when she heard our story, she was interested, decided to work with us. We had an art exhibition for Kanye a couple of months ago here in Abuja. It was a success. We had
that's excellent. We really thank you for that. That's a very proud dad going, and we will continue. We just love that. We can't wait so you have to bring all those paintings and put it with all our artwork. That way we can share. Thank you so much. Then we have one more question. Okay.
I have a nephew who is 30, who is autistic. And the question really, or the issue really for me revolves around how do you manage an autistic adult? It's a lot more challenging when you have a child is in your house, you can look after the child does what you tell him to do basically, and so on. As he gets older, or she gets older, yes, there is the issues, whatever that particular autistic issue is that manifests in that child's life, but other things happen. My 30-year-old nephew, he likes women.
Normal.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the skills to handle it, and it causes problems because now he lives in the US. He does not know, with everything that's going on in the US about male-female relationships and so on, he's an innocent, and he approaches the matter innocently, and it causes problems for him, it causes great pain for his mother, and so, one needs to be very careful. The issue of autism and how we handle autism in Nigeria is something that we really need to focus on. Why? Because running away or moving to the US or to South Africa or to wherever you go is not always the solution. Again, my sister went to the US when my nephew was very young. The state of Texas is fantastic for autism. They look after you, they have all sorts of programs and so on. But as soon as the young man becomes an adult, everything stops. And not only that, you as a parent can no longer make decisions for an adult. It is a problem. So you cannot decide where he's going to live, you cannot decide what he's going to do, you cannot decide how you're going to look after him. Any decision he makes is an adult, and he will take the consequences of whatever those adult decisions are. And his defense, one day there's a problem with that, okay, he's autistic, and then they will determine the level of autism to determine whether or not he knew what he was doing. So I just raise that issue because I think it's important that we do not look at autism as just a problem of children. It is a problem of also of old age. You do not start becoming autistic because you have crossed a certain age barrier. Thank you.
So once Fewa was a baby, and now he's almost 6 foot tall young man. And really, our approach has been, we deal with one day at a time as it evolves. And yes, it's true that in Nigeria we really have to buckle down and be realistic and truthful to ourselves. We talked about how do we raise awareness. So if we're the most populous black nation on earth, we must have the highest number of autistic people. So I think that if you're affected in any way, whether you're a grandparent, you have an uncle or a niece, a nephew, or a child, you should be an advocate and begin to speak about autism. Because I try and bring my son home to Nigeria often, but I still find the people who work around us, They say things like, you know. And as a parent, you have to build that inner strength, because you've made a lot of progress in different areas over time, and then suddenly your help at home looks at your child and shakes her head. So, that's just there's so many things to talk about. So, going to the Zeebah Foundation today, and when I heard that the plans in future would be to have a training center to educate people, support center for parents, early intervention, a day center, and ultimately research and maybe a boarding facility. It gladdens my heart, because when Fewa and I started this journey, we opted and went abroad. But how many families can even leave Lagos to go to Ibadan? There are people who live in small, socially, autism affects everybody. It doesn't matter what your economic, affordability is. So for me, I'm thinking, oh my God. So very simple things in terms of what is autism. Parents who face a child with autism, they start there, and you don't know what's wrong with your child. Your culture is saying, oh, it's from the mother's side. All those things. It's a taboo. The child has some evil spirits. They beat the child, So awareness, education, support, and very simple things like feeding the child healthy, homegrown food, to one parent being there for the child all the time. It's definitely difficult for one parent to deal with it. If you look at the number of cases of divorce, sometimes it's caused by autism. Financially, it's draining. Mentally, it's just exhausting. And the caregiver needs respite. The father, too, is constantly paying out huge amounts of money. And how many people really can afford that? Not many. So thank you for your question. You have a 30-year-old relative, so I'm still learning on my journey. My son's only 19, and I'm hoping that the future will be better for us with foundations like this. But the first thing is awareness, removing the stigma, stop hiding our problems, showing that, yes, because life happens to everybody. If it's not autism, it's something else. So that's my attitude. And I don't know.
Thank you so much. And with that well-articulated statement, you do want to say something. Okay, go ahead. Yes.
I really needed to see these policies. And you talked about your 30-year-old cousin that lives in the U.S. And if you go to places like the U.S., the parents, they formed groups, they formed advocacy, and they went to the government and they changed the policy, they changed the Disability Act. And why I'm saying this, that parents need to come out. We need to fight for our children. We need to meet the powers that be to change the Disability Act, to include our children. There should be inclusion, there should be acceptance. It's very key. If you don't fight for your child, no one else will. And in addition to that, we have all these children from 2 to 7 to 8 to 9 on the spectrum. In 10, 20 years' time, they'll be adults. What are we going to do about them? Where are we going to keep them? They'll be a burden on the society if we don't act now and make sure that we give them the right intervention so that by the time they are adults, they can be able to have independent living. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now we'll end this with a comment from Dr. Prince about autism and health.
My name is Dr. Prince Nawizi, and I got to know about this foundation through a friend or colleague. And I'm a consultant in psychiatry. I practice abroad. I practice in Canada, UK, Ireland. And the last while I spent a lot of time with leading a team of intellectual disability in Dublin. And I just felt impressed to just make one or two observations or comments. First of all, I'd like every Nigerian here to clap for themselves. Clap for themselves. Clap for themselves. I'd also like to applaud the organizer. Even in the Republic of Ireland, autism is still a battle. The autistic spectrum disorder is a battle everywhere. There's a battle for awareness, there's a battle for support. What's going on in our own climate is not very unusual, even though we are behind. But I also want to mention that one of the reasons why we should clap for ourselves is that psychiatric illnesses, when discovered, mental illnesses when discovered or being treated and managed, have very good or even better prognosis in our part of the world than in developed nations. So that's a serious kudos to us because of our support, because of our compassion, because of family, because of culture. Actually, the same factors that work against autism or autistic spectrum disorders or mental illness work in our favor once we understand how to work these factors. So, for instance, culture and family support is a big thing in Africa, in our part of the world. And so once we discover the importance of supporting people with mental illnesses like this, we do much better. Okay. Now, just want to make one last comment. Mental illness or psychiatric illnesses such as anxiety, intellectual disability, psychosis, schizophrenia, they play another role because when these almost 80% at times of individuals that suffer from autistic spectrum disorders suffer from a mental illness. We call it comorbidity. Comorbidity is a situation where you suffer from more than one illness or two illnesses at the same time. And the thing is that if you do not treat the other illnesses, you would have a poor prognosis in the primary illness, if you may call it the primary illness. So, for autistic spectrum disorder, one of the things you might need to watch out for if you're a parent or a caregiver is anxiety. The rate of anxiety or the rate of anxiety and the comorbidity of anxiety in autistic spectrum disorders is 40 to 60%. The comorbidity of intellectual disability will range between 20 to 40%, or it could be higher. Now, a person with an intellectual disability as well as autism might have a worse prognosis. So if you don't diagnose that and try to support that as well, you would it kind of works against you. So just to say that there are degrees of the severity of
spectrum.
Autism.
Yes, it is a spectrum.
It's very important for us to be aware of that and look at a whole picture, and I believe you're doing that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So Zan, can you please come up and now express to us the dream behind the Zeebah Foundation and more specifically towards your wonderful, adoring mother that did give birth to you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for those that just came in here. People have come from far and wide. Firstly, to honor relationships, I'm sure. Secondly, to some maybe out of curiosity, some out of a sense of duty, and for various reasons. When I came up earlier, I'd mentioned that my mom, she's seated at the corner there with her adopted son, Toyinsu, who was also very problematic. Had queried me yesterday about not giving her enough information about the foundation and what our dreams and aspirations were. And much as I tried to explain that, I thought it was easier for her to be here. And she flew in, like I said, today. She's here with us, Mrs. Felicia Obe. she raised me, so she must be a very tough woman. I want to thank the panelists that just left, the parents that have come out to speak about this burning issue, and to open up and to address things that people would ordinarily either sweep under the carpet or pretend that it doesn't exist, or be bogged down by societal norms and culture and religious dogmas. Those are all things that we would destroy with time, and awareness is the easiest way. And I think that this is one of such initiatives, alongside what a lot of other people are doing around the country and around the world, actually. For me, I think that the journey to here is an interesting one. In life, actually I have to say thank you, the GMD, the Honorable Minister for State for Budget and Planning, the Minister for Trade and Investment, who was here earlier on. We're not giving them any special place, but we just acknowledge the fact that they are the ones responsible for running the government, and I invited them here on purpose because it's important that government knows what the challenges are. I have a personal relationship with quite a few of them. Some I've just met. I just met the Minister for Budget and Planning very recently, and it's someone I hold in high regard. The GMD is a brother and a friend, and of course my elder brother, His Excellency Senator Ladi Kwali Hall, and everyone here, as a matter of fact, is special. And I acknowledge all of you, and I thank you. For me, I tend to look at life. You have two choices in life when you look at any situation or anything that occurs to you. When we had my son, we found out at about the same age, 18 months to 2 years, that he had certain peculiarities that we weren't cognizant with. He wasn't making eye contact. He didn't start speaking as early as his elder sister had. And like someone said on the panel discussion, just as you know, okay, boys are slower generally, and they remain slower for the rest of their lives, but women are sharper. That's my own personal view. But it didn't take long. I was fortunate enough to be married to someone who had a keen interest in research, and she did a lot of the research, and we discovered that my son was on the spectrum, and it's been a long journey. It's been a long, interesting, sometimes chaotic journey. You have this really special child, and my son is absolutely, anyone that knows me knows that I love my children, and especially him. Whenever I'm around, when work doesn't drag me to different places, he wants to be with me everywhere I go. So if it's chance we go to work together when I'm in the UK where they live, he goes with me everywhere. He draws out an itinerary of what we are going to do once I arrive. So I'm not one of those people who are unfortunate enough to think that it's a curse. I look at it as a blessing. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to have an august crowd like you see. I would have no reason to. By nature, I'm an entrepreneur. All I do is build businesses and try and make money. But as you get older, I turned 50 this year. That's a major milestone. And about a year ago, I started to ask myself, so what is your impact? If you were to leave this earth today, what would you say that you did or that you achieved? Is it that you made money? People make money. You would never have enough money. There's always going to be a richer man. There was a time it was Onassis. There's another time it was... there have been all kinds of rich people, and there will always be a richer man in it. So it's not about money. Was it academic exploits? Well, I had no challenges there. I'm not in that race. I'm not one of those smart people. My mother here would pay credence to that. I tell a story, and it's part of what I'm going to speak about, because I'm going to talk to you about three things specifically. And the first being, never give up. You've heard different stories here. You've heard people who have spoken about different situations. They made it almost sound like it was glamorous, the way they put it. You need to live with the child in the spectrum to understand what it takes for you to travel with a child who cannot stand flickering light. When I walked into the hall today, the first thing I did was I said to the guys in technical, I said, you know, you have these lights doing all of these things. If someone were to come here with a child in the spectrum, they can't deal with it. And I said, please shut that down. You cannot imagine what it means or what it feels like to live with a child that you love so much. And in a lot of, I remember in the early stages, I just didn't understand it. I come from a strict disciplinarian home. My mom, I thank God for her. I don't know where I would have ended up. But I wouldn't dare allow my child to appear to be recalcitrant. Okay, so I would think, why is he misbehaving? I wouldn't lie. In the early days, I did the African thing once or twice. But I was fortunate enough to find out early enough that, no, that wasn't the problem. He's not being stubborn. He's not being silly. He has a condition. And early in the day, I realized that I had to make a choice. I either allowed this thing to defeat me, where I played the victim, which is what human beings tend to like to play the victim. Oh, you don't have a child that's autistic. Yeah, so what? You're going to live with that for the rest of your life, so get on with it. But I chose that I would give my son the best possible care that he could get. I'm a man of faith. I still believe that he would come out of it 110%. I'm actually very blessed. We've come from a long journey to a point where today he's 14. You might observe a few peculiarities, but you almost may not tell. He reads, he writes, he loves music, and like someone said on the stage, if you left your phone here in 3 minutes, he can crack the code. If he dares to see you opening it at the point, he can crack the code and he will be all over it. So he loves the things that he loves. He loves music, and I often ask him, Zeebah, what would you like to be when you grow up? And some days he wants to be an astronaut, other days he's an actor, he wants to be a DJ, like one of our brand ambassadors, DJ Copy. He's all sorts of things. And I've learned to support him. And I think that's a message we should get across to everyone that is facing a challenge in whatever area. I said a story about my mom. I said earlier that she and I, we started fighting early. And I didn't realize why. I had a very irresponsible elder brother who's somewhere here in the hall. An extremely responsible elder sister who was born again from the womb. And then there was me. Then I had two younger siblings who were cool kids. So apparently I was the problem. I didn't realize it. I wanted to drink, smoke, go out. It was what boys did. So we started fighting as young as 13. I would come out, she locked me. I remember one instance I came back drunk. I must have been maybe 14. She locked me out. I slept outside at night. And at some point I thought maybe this woman can't be my mother. But an interesting thing happened. When I completed my GCE, like Toyin Suba, the result was very bad. Very, very, very bad. So I went to school that day, got the results, and it was, I think, C6, P. I can't even remember what it was. There was no B. It wasn't. Those kind of things were too. And of course, F9 in maths. But I got my 5 credits at one sitting. 5 credits. And when I got the result, I looked at it and I said, I'm in serious trouble. I don't know if she remembers this story. I said, I'm in serious trouble. So I took it, put it at the back of my pocket, and went home. As I got home, I went by the side of the house. I was going to sneak into my room. alas, she was at the door seeing off a friend. So as soon as she saw me, I wanted to retreat. She said, come here. So I went there and she said, where's your result? The results are coming out today. So reluctantly, I brought it out and I gave it to her. She looked at it. I think she just did a mental note, okay, that I got 5 credits. It didn't matter to her what they were, but the B wasn't. My mom did not actually believe, and she's here today. I don't think she believed that I would ever turn out to be anything. So she looked at it, counted 5 credits, and like a typical African mother, praise the Lord. So her friend, who was standing with her, looked at her and said, Felicia, your son's result, let me see. She took it, looked at it. I was like, Felicia, this is a useless result. And I would never forget that. As much as we fought all the time, and like I said, we still fight sometimes, she turned to her and warned her sternly, never ever you refer to my child's result as a useless result. Clearly the woman did not understand where we were coming from. And that spurred me on. I never got the opportunity to do much better than that, because even when I went into university, bad friends, bad company, I completed in 4 years. I finished, but nothing to write home about. But it made me believe that never write off anyone and always support the people that are dear to you and always believe in people. And I thank you, Mama. Thank you. The second thing I want to speak to you about is about purpose. A wise man once said, if purpose is unknown, abuse is inevitable. I went through university and I didn't even know what the relevance of the course that I was studying was. I think I wanted to do law. Of course, I didn't have enough. It didn't add up. So they used to have something called rebate, I think, or something back then. Anyway, they managed me, packaged me into, and I did something called communication arts. It's the only degree I still have. I've tried to add something to that since it hasn't worked out. I excuse it as the longing for more money has distracted me from pursuing my academic career. But I still believe I'll still get an MBA someday. But purpose is key in life. If you don't have purpose, if you don't know your purpose in life, you're just walking through, navigating through things without really realizing. So you have money. So what is money? Everyone has. People have money. Millions of people, very wealthy people in the room. I'm looking at one in the eye now, and he knows I'm looking at him. Very wealthy guy. But it's what you do with money that counts. And so I knew, whilst I was an entrepreneur, I always knew I was an entrepreneur. I always knew. There's no question about it. This is what I am. And I've held 2 jobs in my lifetime, and I never applied for any of them. I was headhunted. One of the people, yes, my former boss, Senator Lea Limoki, former governor of Cross River State, who managed to take 8 years of my life, convincing me that there's something higher than money. It's called serving the people. Yeah? We have done it. So we did all of that, and I started to ask myself, look, you turned 50 this year. What exactly is it that, if you were to go to what would they write on your epitaph? And I have quiet moments every morning. I meditate every morning, and one of those seasons, my son's condition, as it were. As great as it is, like I said, we live almost a regular life, came to mind. And I said, God, why? I said, actually, I don't really even understand why you would choose me of all people to give me a son that has this challenge that is so expensive. Okay, I don't understand. And he said, it's your calling. Me calling. I don't know anything about autism. Maybe my wife, not me. I know nothing about autism. And he said, you will see. And so the journey started. And with me, there's something that I do. If I have a vision, I write it. And I started to write. And I said, look, this is what I want to do. It was on a flight from, I can't remember, one of my trips. I started writing down and saying, this is what I would like to do. This is what I would like to do. And started from there. And honestly speaking, this foundation is barely a year old from when Ijoma acted as a consultant, because I needed someone who knew something about NGOs. I didn't want to get into trouble because I wanted to do good. To now, it's barely 12 months old. And the things that we have done is absolutely phenomenal. I have a great team here, the Board of Trustees. I'd like to recognize Mrs. Anao Tedola, the member of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Julia Njogo, a member of the Board of Trustees. Please let them recognize you. My dear mother-in-law, Dr. Mrs. Remi Aribasala, member of the Board of Trustees. Glory Shao, my sister, she's seated somewhere at the back there. She serves as the secretary of the board. And of course, Marilyn Umabo, I'm sure she's hiding somewhere. Okay. Marilyn is the director of our organization. They've done a phenomenal, absolutely. My job is easy. My own is they just look for what they need to spend money on. My own is to look for the money. So mine is the easy part. In 12 months, we've had the CEO speak at the United Nations. We've hosted, I think this is the second seminar, or workshop. We are formally launching now. We've taken a new building on Rhine Street, 21 Rhine Street, in Maitama, furnished and equipped with support from good people like L.A. Peters, who gave us all our furniture there. It's the coming together of all of these things is proof to me that I must be walking in the right direction. I'm convinced in my head that this is what I'm going to retire. I've always said I'll retire at 55. I've got 5 years of hard work to go, and then I want to do like Bill Gates and just be doing foundation. So you have the Zeebah Foundation, and we'll be intervening in nations across the world. That is really that's what I want to do. And you ask me why? It's because it's solving a problem. If you know how much relief the parents who sat up here and spoke about autism get from having a channel to air what is bottled inside of them, you'll be shocked. Someone asked a question about awareness. There's nothing better than this. It's a fantastic place to go to. If you know me well, if you meet me, by the time you interact with me in 1 week, you know that I have a son in the spectrum. I don't spare you. You must know that there's a son in the spectrum. You don't know about spectrum. This is what it's about. Okay, why aren't your family here? Oh, they are out because of this boy. Zeebah controls our entire life. If he doesn't, he eats, his meals are special. He couldn't travel long distance. Because, how would you cater to his food if he's traveling for more than 6 hours? So the family didn't travel for a long time as a family. He didn't so he couldn't go to the Euro Disneys and all of those things because flickering lights and stuff like that. So everyone else has to. So I feel, sometimes I empathize, not sometimes, most times I empathize with his siblings because they make so much sacrifice. But then they love him and so they get along so well. So for me, this is really, I have no doubt in my head that this is what I will retire to. And this is what I want to do, to bring awareness, to bring support to people that are suffering in one way or the other. Most of us here in the room today definitely do not fall in the category of indigent or people who cannot, in one way or the other, find help. There are people, I speak to people that are multi-billionaires, billionaires as a matter of fact, who have kids in the spectrum and do not even know. So you can imagine a person in the village, somewhere in Cross River. Okay, you're telling him about autism. It's not going to happen. I have an uncle who's a medical doctor. We were kids growing up. We had a cousin who was locked up all the time. We didn't know what he was. It was when I had my son that I know, hold on, this must have been what was disturbing this boy. So there's so much that needs to be done, and just like the spectrum, okay, there's so much space for you to make your contribution in one way or the other. When I started to send out reminders to people, and people started asking me, give me account details, and I said, look, I thank you. We want the contribution. By the way, it's not a fundraising, it's a launch. We're just making noise so people hear that this kind of thing exists, and then we can then start to interact. It's not a fundraiser, but thank you for sending the money. Thank you so much for everyone that's coming. And people have contributed mind-boggling figures of money to us. In the present state of the economy, it's shocking. Okay, the sort of support that we receive, and I thank every single one that has done that. But it wasn't, I said to them, look, thank you, I like your money, but what's more important for me is for you to be in this hall when we are having a discussion. So you understand what you're giving your money towards, or you understand what you're doing. And so purpose is very important, and for me, I found my purpose. I don't know what yours is, and I don't know if it's related to autism. It could be something else. So it's important for you to look for that and find it. And the last thing is, you must pursue your dreams. I could have taken this, dreamt about it, and just locked it up. We wouldn't be in this room today. But I decided that I will pursue it. I will throw resources at it. I got the chairman of my board of the company that I run, Mr. Asui Godala, seated here in the hall. At one of the board sessions, I said to him, Chairman, we have to adopt this Zeebah Foundation. I'm doing stuff personally, but the company has to adopt it as its own CSR arm, because I see that the weight of what we need to do would crush me personally. So the company itself has to support. So we got board ratification, and that's how come we have done most of the things that we have done before we even accepted the first penny from anyone. So thank you, Chairman. And so we must pursue our dreams. Our dreams are, like I said on the panel, is that we want to create awareness. We want to build right across Nigeria, obviously, to start with. And then ultimately across Africa, centers where people can go to and get training, and get intervention, and get help, and get counseling, and get aid in whatever way or form. And it's not just for the rich. The rich will pay for it. We want the rich people to underwrite the cost for the less privileged. That is our dream. And so today, I welcome you, and I thank you for taking your time to listen to us. I know it's been a long evening. We promise that it will be as short as possible. We're trying to keep it under 2 hours from when we officially started. But thank you for coming. I wanted them to put up something on the... we are moving from Abuja. Abuja is actually a pilot. Okay, when we started this whole process, I said I wanted to build a center, and I wanted it, of course, as we are typical Nigerians, I wanted it to be in my state, where I come from. But of course, reason, like Chairman said, that how many people in Cross River State even know what autism is about. You're not going to be able to create sort of awareness that you want to. And so we said, okay, maybe we'll go to Lagos. We started up in Lagos, and just by, that's a long story, we ended up in Abuja, the federal capital. So we started here, and we do want to build a proper purpose-built facility in Lagos. We will come back to you for that. Then it will be fundraising. For now, we appreciate the support. There's a lot that needs to be done. There's a lot of intervention that needs to go out. The people that needs to hear this message and know that It's not life-threatening. It's not witchcraft. It's not. These are special children. You know, these are lovely children, talented children, gifted children, and you actually have to be special to have a child in the spectrum. You do. God doesn't give autistic children to you. So, I, for one, am a proud autism father. I don't know about anyone else, and I think that the gentlemen that have spoken up here in this hall are proud of some parents. And I thank you for your time. God bless you.
Please put your hands together once again. Thank you so much. So we're going to switch gears for a minute. We're going to have a very quick performance by a very special individual. I'm not going to say anything else but introduce her and ask her to come on up and do her magic. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Oluwatosi Ogunbajo.
Good evening, can you hear me? Okay, great. This song is called I Was Here, and this song just talks about us leaving a footprint in the sand, making sure that this world that we live in, that we actually make an impact. So I hope you enjoy it. On the sands of time, though there was something there, meant something there I left behind. When I leave this world, I'll leave no regrets. It's something to remember, so they won't forget I was here. I was here. I've done everything that I wanted. It was more than I thought it would be. I will leave my mark so everyone knows I was here. I wanna say I lived each day until I died. And know that I meant something in somebody's life. The hearts I have touched will be the proof that I leave. I make a difference, and this world will see I was here. I lived, I loved, I was here. Everything that I wanted, it was more than I thought I would be. I will leave my mark so everyone knows I was here. I lived, I loved, I was here. I did.
All right, thank you very much for that, Tosin. That was absolutely amazing. Thank you all so much, and thank you to everyone for your wonderful patience. So just a quick couple of things before we move on towards the end of the program. The first being is that we do have some call for donations, and if you happen to go to page 35 of your handout booklets that were given to you when you came in, you will see pledge cards that you can make personal commitments to. Please get in contact with the Zeebah Foundation and go to page 35 of the booklets that you were given to now make some commitments for some donations, because we could definitely use as much help as we can as we move on with this journey. And also at the same time, we do have some artwork that was put together by the kids who belong to the foundation, 2 of which are up here now, and then we also have some in the foyer. So please, please, please patronize, get in contact with the Zeebah Foundation to now get some artwork with you. The minimum is 75,000 naira, but they can negotiate, and let's please get these off so we can also encourage and enable these kids. All right, thank you all very much once again. We're going to move towards the end of the program, and I'm going to now ask for the vote of thanks to be done by the chairman of the Levin Energy Group, who happens to be the ones that now are the parent company for the Zeebah Foundation, Mr. Asue Gadalo, to come and give a vote of thanks. Please put your hands together.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we said we'll keep you for 2 hours. It's a few seconds over 2 hours. So I'd like to say thank you very much for coming. In particular, I'd like to thank the government officials who were here. It was critical that they attended and they saw what Zeebah is doing, so there's spread awareness. So we thank them for coming, the Honorable Minister of Trade and Investments, Honorable Minister of National Planning, the GMD of NMDC, and the former Governor of Cross River State. We thank them all for coming. It's critical. I'd like to particularly thank Mama for the work she did with Nzan, because if you didn't do that work, we wouldn't have Zeebah. So thank you very much. I'd also like to thank, today I also made another discovery. I always knew, but one way or the other, I didn't act. Nzan's mother-in-law is my big sister. So I also thank her very much. God bless you. I thank you all for coming. I know guys who flew across many seas to get here. Thank you very much. It's a work day. It's a tough day. Things are tough, but people did get here. People are here to support us. Like Nzan said, it's not about the money, it's about the awareness and support. The more we know about this, the more we deal with it positively. I thank the board of the Zeebah Foundation for the great work you're doing. I thank the management, and I think we all should support this extremely laudable cause. I thank you all. God bless you. God bless Zeebah. God bless Nigeria. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir. So we come to an end for the program. Thank you all once again for coming. Greatly appreciated. Please get back to your respective locations safely. Once again, my name is Waji Jubana. It has been an absolute pleasure being the host for this particular event. And before we wrap up, I'm going to now quickly introduce a Zeebah brand ambassador, somebody that needs no introductions, that's going to serenade us as we walk on out. But please put your hands together for world-renowned and absolutely talented DJ Cuppy. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
We're here at the red carpet for the Zeebah Foundation launch, and of course everyone knows who you are. So as a brand ambassador for the Zeebah Foundation, most importantly, what I'm interested in is how do you want to use this platform to make a difference?
Well, I think that's a very good question. For me, being able to connect with this whole organization has been a journey for me. It's been very authentic, very natural. I'm very vocal about how my brother has autism, and the Zeebah Foundation provides a platform for people to connect with very similar experiences, and also allows people to grow and create a support system. Not very long ago, autism was something that a lot of people did not want to address or did not want to educate themselves in. And the Zeebah Foundation has taken that big jump and put themselves at the forefront of autism. And I'm so proud to be here tonight. Now, what is COPY going to do to further extend that? Well, my job is to make sure that there's awareness as a young person, and also someone that has autism in my family. It's my job to make sure that I'm fighting the stereotypes. Those with autism are some of the smartest people in the world, and I think it's important to highlight and also celebrate them. So a lot of the things we've seen today, we've seen workshops, we've seen opportunities for families to network and get to know each other. So despite it being seen as a negative, we've actually turned that and made it into a positive, and actually highlighted those that need the help and highlighted those champions that are making things happen. It is definitely a launch, so it's a start of many things to come, and I think the foundation will find its feet as it goes on. But what they're doing is epic, and I'm so proud to be part of that.
Right. You mentioned a support system. Knowing that in Nigeria we don't have a lot of awareness around mental illness, what do you think we can do about creating more support systems for things beyond even autism?
Gosh, I feel like as a Nigerian sometimes, I feel like we let ourselves down. You're right, there's a lot of lack of communication. People don't want to have those awkward and difficult conversations. I feel like as a society, you're right, beyond autism, mental health, even with young people, a lot of us need help, and sometimes we're too scared to get it or ask for it. And very often it's not there. But I think in this world, with organizations like the Zeebah Foundation, we actually realize that the opportunity is there to grow and also to interact. And what happens is, if I say I need help, it turns out you need help too, and we can actually help each other. I know this sounds a bit sad, but a lot of the times as Nigerians, our bonding is over our problems. So, let's create that space where we can all network. And I think that there will be a lot of exciting outcomes from that, and we'll find out we can actually strengthen each other.
All right. So, one more question. What are you expecting from tonight's launch?
Tonight's launch is amazing. I've seen so much creativity, which I wouldn't expect any less from, autistic children and autistic individuals are some of the most creative people. My brother is the best drummer in the world, and I can see there's amazing artwork. I will be adding to the creativity through my music, so I'll be performing tonight. So it's all very exciting, and I think just me being here, launching in Abuja, it really shows my dedication, and I really, really want to inspire. There's a lot of other young people here. I think it's amazing, and it's a good thing to support those in need, and also not just support from a distance, but physically support as well. So I'm looking forward to this 2-day extravaganza. We're launching tonight, but we're getting straight to work tomorrow. So, I'll be speaking, and I'll be hosting a panel as well. So it's very exciting, I'm kind of in work mode, and I'm here to make a difference.
All right. We'd love to see you perform as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and we're here at the end of the launch of the Zeebah Foundation, and I'm here with Mrs. Obijuru. What was the highlight of tonight's event for you?
I think the highlight was the panel discussion where you had the parents giving heartfelt individual stories that is so commonplace, that spoke from the heart, and it's something that a lot of people are now coming out to do because they're realizing that it's just only me who has this problem, and it's actually a life problem that you can get help for, and the child will live a fulfilled and normal life.
That's amazing. So what do you hope Zeebah will do in the near future?
I hope Zeebah spreads really. I hope Zeebah gets to go to most states at least, of the country, because you have a dire, there's a need for facilities, where you can help children who have challenges such as autism, and then affordable too. So the foundation is such that it's being run in such a way that it can actually help indigent parents and children to be able to get the help that they need. So it is really, really needed in a lot of places. Thank you, and I hope it spreads.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you.
All right. All right, I'm here with Mr. Krager, and I'd like to know what the highlight of tonight's launch was for you.
For me, it was the fact that this is an event of this quality was done to raise the awareness of autism in Nigeria, and just to share that it goes across, you have children across the spectrum, but beyond that, you have people of different ages, and letting people understand that it's not a disease. And as Zan Okwe, the founder, actually said, you have to be special to have a child with autism. That for me really rang true. I think I have a child with autism on the spectrum myself, and the resources available in country are far lacking. We've had to go above and beyond, and just having a forum where you can see a number of people of like minds coming together and trying to look at it to recognize that this is not a disease, it's not a death sentence, it is actually something for children, and the earlier we detect them, the better we can help them be functioning adults later on in life. So I was really blown away. I had no idea it was going to be something of this scale. But I really look forward to supporting this initiative going forward. Thank you.
I'm really interested to know how you felt about tonight's event and what the highlight was for you.
Okay, for me, actually, I've been seeing children on spectrum, children with this challenge, and I've never heard of a foundation that takes care of them. Actually, I know that there are schools that take care of them, but today I'm here to find out, and I'm so happy with the outcome of the foundation that is here to help parents to take care of these kids. And they're not just looking at the well-to-do ones, but the divergent, the ones that don't have idea. And they're looking at a way of spreading the news, because so many people have kids with these challenges, but they don't actually know what it is. But Zeebah Foundation is there to bring it to the doorsteps of people, to intimate them on what actually autism is and how to take care of these children. And they are ready to help.
Okay, the highlight of this was I've done some research on autism and some other of its kind, but I got to see firsthand people who had children that had autism, and hearing their stories, hearing the challenges these children have to go through firsthand was something for me. And seeing people with so much passion willing to take on other children that have autism and even help them, it was that was lovely for me. And I actually learned a lot more about autism, and this Nigerian stigma about when a child is growing up and they're not talking at some point, people start talking and start stigmatizing the child even without finding out why this child is not talking at this age and how do I help this child, and I got to see some myths and some truths about autism and how to help them. So
that's so amazing.
See that autism is not a curse. Actually, we can see what those children can do.
They draw better than I can.
Look at the art they displayed. Honestly, I was shocked. I was amazed. So it's not a curse. So anybody that has a relation or a child who is facing through these challenges, it's not a curse. Should know how to help these children by bringing them to Zeebah, and they will become something better in the future, we hope.
So I'm here with physiotherapist James Brown, and what do you know about autism and physical challenges?
Autism is really a behavioral challenge for children that have these problems. But as a physical therapist, I'll have to just talk about the aspect of which my field covers, whereby we have developmental milestones. And these developmental milestones, physios can really have a role to play in which they can able to make these children meet up this milestone development at an earlier time. And I've been able to see what Zeebah Foundation has and the framework which they have on ground, and I'm really happy to partner with them all align myself with them so that they can actually make this framework be beneficial for these children who are suffering with autism.
So, I mean, being a part of this launch tonight, what's the highlight of this evening for you?
The highlights of this evening for me is that there is a foundation that is going to be able to take care of these children with autism. I won't lie to you, there's a lot of stigmatization with parents that have children with autism, and they're not here right now. So I would like to talk to them that if you have that, Zeebah Foundation is a foundation you can align yourself with and really help other children who are both out there and those who are hiding this disease to come out and form a forum to be able to help these children.
So what was the highlight of tonight's event for you?
I think it was when I heard the chairman's speech. It was just so emotional because the way he connected it with, first of all, his family not giving up on him, and then because of that, him now also wanting to give something back. I was really touching.
That's so amazing. So what do you feel the Zeebah Foundation can do in the nearest future for the kids who really need this help?
It's really amazing that something like this will be available, because I know several people that can't afford the kind of education or even the knowledge about what autism is. So I'm hoping that this will shine a light onto all the hidden places, that there is hope, there is care, and that these children are special. Yeah.
Thank you.
For me, the highlight of tonight's event was when the chairman spoke about the challenges being also a blessing to have the same child who spurs you to do all these things, and at the end of the day, he still remembers having not understood the journey he's made till today, now understanding and giving back. So all those challenges have they've led to what has happened today. So the highlight for me was, okay, when we have challenges, we should remember these things. He mentioned support, I think set purpose, and the last one, there were three things: support, purpose, and no, it's there because I really took them. I like support the family, yes, support, purpose, and family. So at the end of the day, those things matter. But even if they are not your family members, if they are people you also just meet on your day-to-day activities, it's good to apply them. You may never know what somebody else is going through and how the little kindness you do can help them across.
Thank you so much, sir.